Good morning. One of the first videos I did earlier this year was an interview I had with a former warden and case manager, and we talked about the pros and cons and benefits of a release plan and how to prepare one, and really not just the usefulness, but the practicality of a release plan. And since I did that probably 6 months ago, I've had an opportunity to work with dozens of clients. And something that happened last week really resonated with me and wanted me to kind of revisit the topic. I was working with a young lady who was sentenced to 21 months. And she called me and said, I'm getting ready to surrender to Alderson, and I'm really scared, and I really need help. I've heard about this concept of a release plan. Can you help me? And I don't know if anybody's aware of this, but a part of my practice, probably 10 or 15%, is pro bono. Because by the time folks get to me, right before they surrender, many people have exhausted all of their funds, whether it's through an attorney or working with another consultant. They've just exhausted everything, and usually they're abandoned. Their attorneys no longer work with them, their consultants no longer work with them, and now they feel lost and really hopeless. So the young lady said to me, I really don't have much money anymore. Can you help me, at least with the concept of a release plan? And I really felt bad for her because it is scary and daunting preparing to surrender to prison. And in this case, she was going to Alderson. So I said, yes, of course I'll help you. I'll prepare you for prison. I have another young lady on our team that just got out of Alderson. She can help you with the nuances of the facility, and I'll help you with the release plan. So I sent her a template, and my template's maybe 2 pages long. And I really stress the fact that putting too much into a release plan is just garbage. No one's going to read a 6-page release plan. No one's going to want to hear about all the inspirational things you're going to do or have done leading up to this, or what you plan on doing afterwards other than gainful employment. So I sent her the release plan, and I said, all right, here's what we can fill out now, and here's what you're going to have to work on once you surrender and you've had your first team meeting and you get a job and you start taking classes, because there are components of an effective release plan which require actually occurring after your surrender. So I said, it's a growing process, and on maybe your second team meeting, given a 21-month sentence, you'll be ready to submit it to your case manager as part of an overall release strategy. And she said, that's great, I'm ready, I got you. I got a email and a phone call from her last week, panicking. And she said, Sam, I got here and I met with my case manager and I gave her my release plan. And she looked at me like I was from Mars. And she said, what am I going to do with this? She said, I prepared this release plan. I was told to do this. And the case manager said, no, I don't want this. I'm not going to read this now. Forget it. And she handed it back to her. And my client was upset and she was distraught. And I impressed on her, you didn't pay attention. I told you when to submit it. I told you the appropriate time for submitting it and what to submit. And in her eagerness, and maybe she had heard from other folks at the camp how to do things, and she got lost. And I stressed to her, okay, take a step back. Let's put together the release plan again. Here's the components of it. We'll work together until the time is right on your second team meeting to then give your case manager the release plan. Because there's so much misinformation about the effectiveness of a release plan, and more important, when it's going to be used, how it's going to be used, and really the overall purpose of it. Yes, you should have a release plan. Yes, going into prison, you need to know, or at least have an idea what you're going to do when you get out, where you're going to live, how you're going to support yourself, how are you going to drive, do you have auto insurance, do you have medical insurance? But keep things concise and to the point. Remember, you're dealing with a case manager that has 200 additional inmates to worry about. And they don't have the time or patience or wherewithal to deal with sitting with you for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, going over a 6-page story. Keep things simple. The KISS principle. When going into prison, you have to remember your audience. Remember what you're there to do, but more important, remember what's needed to get out of there as quickly as possible. So I encourage you, no matter where you are in this journey, no matter what your means are, if you have any questions about the surrender process, and more importantly, your release plan, give me a call, text me, or email me. Thank you.